Hi, this is Amy with Gerrie Electric, and it's been a while since we did our Shelby unboxing video. So we wanted to give you a little look at how our Shelby unit's doing, and it's in operation with some of our demo equipment. The typical installation for a Shelby appliance, typically you would see it in an industrial control cabinet, so amongst your PLC, your drives and whatnot. But this is our demo unit, so we've got it set up in our demo IDC. You can see we've got switches, our Shelby unit, and a PLC, as well as some servers set up in this rack. It's important to note that this isn't typically what you would see in an IDC. That would be typically more like that Rockwell unit there on the side. That's a Rockwell Industrial Data Center. So you can see the switches and servers inside. So I'm going to plug in to our Shelby appliance, and we're going to take a look at it with some of our demo equipment. So I've plugged into our Shelby appliance, and our Shelby has two Ethernet ports. Ethernet port 1 is on the 192.168.1 subnet, and Ethernet port 2 is 192.168.25. It's important to know that because when we go ahead and we look at our Shelby's dashboard, we're going to see equipments from both subnets. So I just want you to know how we've done that. All right, so I've connected an Ethernet cable from Shelby's Ethernet 1 port here into the Stratix 2500 lightly managed switch. I've got an E300 electronic overload relay, as well as this demo case with a multifunction access box over Ethernet. Down here, I've got a safety relay, a CR440, and over here, an IO Link demo case. So let's hop onto Shelby and see what this equipment looks like in the web portal. All right, so I'm going to connect to my Shelby appliance. And we can see from my Shelby dashboard, I've got some maintenance required, and it's also letting me know I should check the function of some devices. So it's telling me here it's found multiple Ethernet speeds on my network, and there's also some devices with a duplex mismatch. This is information that's very hard to find on your own. You would have to go into each device and check the settings, but with Shelby's diagnostics, it's looking for this information for me and giving me a heads up. I should check my devices at 192.168.25.33 and 36. So I'm going to head on over to my Explorer view and take a look at the hardware I have connected to my Shelby unit. So I can see here my Shelby appliance is healthy at 192.168.1.10. It's currently connected to 48 devices. It's been up for 4 minutes. I just started it for this video. And we can see the available disk space, used memory, and the CPU load. Let's scroll down and take a look at the demo equipment on my table. So I can see I've got my .IO Ethernet adapter here. And it's connected to my safety IO in my multifunction access box demo. I can see my Stratix 2500 lightly managed switch. I can see my E300 overload relay. Here's my multifunction access box, my 440 relay, as well as the Ethernet in our demo room. And we can see my PLCs in my training room, and using network address translation, I've set up all of these PLCs with the same IP address, but we're able to see them publicly with different IP addresses here. So we've got 6 training stations over in the other room. So let's do a deeper dive and take a look at some of the analytics I'm able to get from this equipment. I'm going to click here and we're going to take a look at our multifunction access box. Now, while this is a very smart piece of equipment, we've got all of our buttons here and they're sending their communication signals over Ethernet. Shelby's not able to monitor all of that information right now. It's able to tell us whether the device is online or offline. So we're just getting that feedback that the module is okay. If we take a look here at our information from Shelby, we can see the IP address of our multifunction access box, the product name, revision, and serial number. You'll also note these 4 bars up top and the term default analytics. So those 4 gray bars is the amount of information that Shelby has on those devices. As the bars increase and get darker, we go from 1 bar to 2 bars currently. That shows we have more information and more error messages on those devices. So let's take a look at something like this IO Link master that's communicating through the .IO adapter. So we can see our IO Link master. We've got our IP address of the .IO adapter, as well as which slot it's connected in the .IO adapter here. It's got 2 gray bars for basic analytics. So watch what happens when I disconnect one of these sensors. All right, so we can see on our IO Link master, it's telling me my device on channel 0 is disconnected. So using our IO Link protocol, generally we get a lot more information from our sensors, but currently we're able to monitor the module's health and we're able to see if the sensors have been disconnected or not. So I'm going to reconnect that and we'll watch the error disappear in our Shelby unit. So it's important to note that these errors don't appear and disappear instantaneously. Shelby is designed to put very minimal load on your industrial network. So you'll see the errors update at around 1 to 2 minutes after the faults occur. So we can see here our IO-Link master is showing us that the device is no longer disconnected, the module status is green, and everything's good. So let's take a look at a device that has a lot more error messages programmed into the Shelby appliance. I'm going to trip this E300 and then we'll watch it fault out on Shelby. While we're waiting for it to fault, you can see we've got a lot more information here. In terms of the E300, we've got a dashboard full of information. We can see, for example, the average current and the starts counter and operating time for the unit. So we can see here, we've got an error message with a little wrench, and it lets us know the overload relay is in a trip state. This is really handy for troubleshooting. Generally, if you've got a panel full of these E300s, it might be hard to find which contactors popped up or which light is blinking red. Through the Shelby dashboard, you can see exactly the IP address and your alias of your device that's got that fault. So I'm going to reset it and clear it on Shelby. You can see here in my Explorer feed, some devices have the generic product name as their description, for example the E300 overload relay, whereas I have other devices that are labeled, for example Station 1 input card or Station 2 PLC. If you look at one of our previous videos, the configuration of Shelby, we actually show you how to download the spreadsheet and fill in your device aliases, so it's a little easier to navigate through these devices and not have to look at the product name, which may be duplicated multiple times. So that error has been cleared. Shelby's showing the module is healthy again. So the next thing we're going to look at is my action deck. So you can see we've got a bunch of action items here. For example, it's showing me that my overload relay was in a trip state. You can see the green bar at the top states the error has been resolved. For example, if you have a relay that keeps tripping out and maybe someone's resetting it without letting you know, you can see here that the error has happened and it's since been resolved since the last time you looked at Shelby's dashboard. You do have the option over here of hiding resolved items and only seeing current issues, as well as you can vote up and vote down these issues. If you have a nuisance fault or something you're aware of that isn't a big deal to you, you can vote it down and Shelby will no longer show you that error. So for example, I know that I'm not really concerned about these maintenance issues with these PLCs. They're demo units and they don't have an energy storage module or a battery, so it's going to keep giving me that fault. So I can vote them down and they won't show that to me anymore. So for example, Station 6, it's showing me here, I've got my auto duplex and speed negotiation was failed, so I've got that mismatch. So I'm going to head on over to that Ethernet card later and I'm going to change the network speed. You also have the option here of resetting your votes. So if you want to take a look at everything fresh and ignore all those preferences that you've just put in, clicking reset votes will auto-generate the cards based on the errors currently existing in Shelby. And here we can see all the errors that currently exist with my Shelby appliance. Those action cards can be seen on Shelby through the web portal, or if you're using the Factory Talk Team 1 app on your mobile device. So that's it for this video. We wanted to show you what Shelby looked like in operation with some of these devices, and you can see the differences between the default and basic analytics that we've got so far. It's important to note that Shelby's still a very young product in its life cycle. It's been around for just about a year. The Shelby development team is committed to updating Shelby's operating system multiple times throughout the year. So if you need to know how to do that, you can watch one of our videos on updating Shelby or connect your Shelby to the internet. But again, there's room to grow. These devices we've seen have only 1 to 2 bars of information, and we have the ability to go up to 4 bars in full analytics. There's a lot of troubleshooting and error messages, as well as some great graphs and information that you can find on these products. So this was Amy with Gerrie Electric.